Welcome to an extra gentle yin yoga class. As we're starting class tonight, we're in the middle of seasons changing, and so that can feel very ungrounding. In Texas, it is currently pretty hot outside, 90 degrees or more, but yet we can feel and see that fall is among us, like the grocery store. You see the fall leaf decorations, right? So our bodies also notice this transition. And so we're just going to very softly and sweetly stretch out our body tonight, really full body. And if you have a strap, you'll definitely want a strap for tonight. And we're going to start. You can start in a comfortable seat for your centering. You can lie down. I'm gonna sit with back on my heels tonight. So the tops of my feet are on the floor, on the blanket. You can sit however you want. And we're gonna take a little lotus mudra. And so what I mean by that is you're going to bring your hands together at your heart in prayer. And then you'll separate your middle three fingers, your pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger. And that creates sort of this flower blossom shape. We're going to hold that lotus mudra right at our hearts and just start to focus in on our breath. So letting your inhale become wide and full. And letting your exhale be complete and sort of carefree. And if it resonates with you as you breathe, imagine there's a little ball of light in between your palms. And your breath is kind of nurturing this light to grow a bit brighter, a bit bigger. As you inhale, the light starts to glow a little brighter. And as you exhale, that little ball of light kind of retreats a little tighter into itself. You'll take a few more of those breaths, inhaling into that little ball. And exhaling, noticing that ball glowing bright. You might even feel or sense that there is warmth in between your palms. Your eyes are closed, you'll open your eyes, and then imagine you could take that little warm ball of light into your heart. Just kind of cover your hands over your heart, take that warmth in for yourself. And then we'll open our eyes. And so kind of for today, every time it feels right, you can kind of pause, notice your heart, give yourself some of that warmth. We're going to lie down. A prop behind the head is a nice thing to do for yourself. And you're going to have your strap close by. We are not going to start with the strap. We'll just have it for the moment. So you're going to lie flat on your back. And we're going to start with a really simple Apanasana. Draw the knees into the body, cup each palm over each kneecap. Take a moment to point and flex your feet. You can circle your feet around the ankles a few times each direction. Relaxing your feet. And then keep your feet and legs relaxed. And start to let your knees drift away from you. The arms will straighten as you inhale. And as you exhale, bend the elbows wide, let the knees fall into your chest. And we'll continue to move just like that. Inhale, knees tilt away, arms lengthen. Exhale, knees draw into the chest. So it's like you're massaging your thigh bones in the hip sockets. You can continue this, or you could do an even more dynamic movement where you're creating two separate circles with each knee. So the knees would reach away, then the legs would open wide apart, and then in and together. And you just stir the legs. And sometimes the legs will want to grip or the hips are going to want to grip. How can you soften that rough edge a little bit? How can you disengage those legs? One more circle this way. And then reverse, going the opposite direction. And last one here, we'll hug the knees into the body, begin to rock across the back of the hips. And then now we'll find our strap. And if you want to, let's slide back. If you want to lay your legs long for a second, let's probably do that for a check-in moment before we shift our legs in this next sequence. And then set your feet on the ground. Grab a hold of your strap. You can also interlace your fingers behind your right thigh, but we'll take the strap just below the toes, right at the ball of the foot. And you begin to bend and straighten the leg, just waking up the back of the leg, getting it used to, being in that position that will stay. The next time you lengthen your leg, stay right here, and you can reach up high on your strap, have straight arms while you hold the strap, or you could lower your hands on the strap and let your elbows rest on the floor. You can take your left leg long or keep your left foot flat on the floor, but regardless, we're looking to feel like we're dropping our right thigh bone deeper into the pelvis. So what you can do is move your strap just below your toes, right to the ball of your foot, and then pull straight down. That'll flex your foot more, but it also feels as if you're plugging that thigh bone deeper in the socket. It's kind of a nice feeling for most of us. We'll be here for another minute. So notice your upper body. Are you gripping or over efforting in your shoulders or in your hands? Can you let some of that go? Maybe wiggle out your shoulders, maybe loosen the grip of your hands. We'll be here for just a little bit longer. And so we're going to do multiple things with this leg. And so keeping our right leg up in the air, move both of the straps to your right hand. And we'll all take the left foot on the floor, left knee bent. Now you're going to open your left knee out to the left like a butterfly pose. Meanwhile, the right leg is going to open out to the right. So the legs are moving away from one another. I have a wall keeping my leg from going any lower, but what you'll do is you'll take your right elbow and stick it on the ground, and that creates a kickstand-like effect with your arm holding the strap here. And so we're seeking an inner thigh stretch, really in both inner thighs, but especially the right. If you have a wall that your foot ends up on, it's not a bad thing. It's think of it as another prop. You could kind of straighten your leg, push the wall away a little bit to enhance this. We're not going to be here as long as the previous one we did. We're going to actually close our legs together like a book. And then straighten your left leg long on the floor. Take your left hand across and grab both of the straps. Take your right hand to your right hip crease. Push your right hip bone down on the floor. Take that right leg across to the left. So now we're searching for an IT band stretch. And so the more you pull up on your strap and you stack your foot over your left shoulder, the more you might feel, but you want to keep your right hip anchored to the mat. That's kind of the caveat here. We'll take 3 more breaths here. And then after your final breath, we're going to notice how our 2 legs feel. So you can remove your strap, lower your legs long on the mat, and pause. Take a moment to soak in the sensation. Feel all the variations, the buzzing, the movement of energy, the kind of warm or cool fluid movement. You might even bring your feet side to side and notice if one leg is a little bit longer than the other or feels longer. It may not look longer, but that's my favorite feeling in this. All right, let's go to the other side. So we want to pick up our feet, have our feet flat on the floor. This is a good place to start. It's the most nice on our low back, okay? From here, draw your left knee into your chest and then take the strap around the left foot and then the left leg will reach up. Then we'll start to bend and straighten that left leg a few times, like you're yawning the back of your leg. That's really all yin yoga is. You're just taking parts of your body and letting them yawn, I think. Go ahead and hold the leg up. I mean, there's more to it than that, but all right. And then make sure your strap is on the ball of your foot just below the toes. You'll pull straight down. You can extend your right leg long if you want to. That might be a lot though, so you can dial it back and then check in with your hands and your shoulders. We don't want a whole bunch of effort. We want like medium effort at best. We'll hang out here for a little bit. Then is there a part of you that can get even heavier in this pose? So maybe it feels like you're working really hard to straighten that left leg. What if you soften that knee joint a little bit? What if you let your left sitting bone get heavier? Let your tailbone sink heavier to the floor. We'll take 5 more breaths here. All right, keeping the leg in the air, you can always reset if you need to, but we're going to gather both of the straps now in the left hand. And then make sure your right knee is bent, right foot is flat on the floor. Open your right knee out to the right. Let your left leg fall to the left, and you can grab your strap in a way that your elbow is connected to the floor. And it's sort of helping to prop and support your leg in the strap. Because the last thing we want is our pelvis to tilt all the way to the left and our left foot to fall to the ground. Instead, we want level hips parallel to the floor. And then from there, the legs can open wide apart. Let's take one more breath here. And then squeeze or bring your legs back together however you need to. We have one final thing to do with this left leg. We're going to now grab the strap, both of the straps into the right hand, and then hold the left hip down with your left hand, like you're tacking it to the floor. Right leg goes straight, and then start to move your left leg over to the right just a few inches until you notice a stretch. Then lengthening that leg here. Maybe pulling up on your strap just a bit more to get a little more out of it. We'll hang out here. Ooh, and some of us might feel the outside of the leg, but it's normal to feel behind the knee or the back of the leg. You can also experiment pulling your foot more over your right shoulder. That might change the quality of the stretch quite a lot. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then release, lower the left leg alongside the right and check in with yourself again. Notice what is shifting and moving as you're laying still. We're going to keep using the strap today just to create space. So we're going to hold the strap. You'll stay lying down. You can have your legs long, but if that pulls on your low back, have your feet up on the floor, knees bent. Hold your strap about mat distance apart, and then just lightly pull your strap away, and then just start to reach your arms back. It's like you're yawning first thing in the morning, that feeling. And then take the strap all the way back to the ceiling and then down to your legs. So you're just gently pulling the strap apart the whole time. This is going to kind of open up the chest, broaden the chest. And we're moving in a way that is, what they call it, flossing the shoulders, where the shoulder socket gets to move in a way that's very helpful to release. Now, the shoulders might scrunch up by your ears when you reach the arms back. Instead of that, can you keep your shoulders down away from your ears? Let's do 2 more of these. And last one. And that's all we're doing there. So you can set your strap off to the side, although there will be more where that came from. Whew, you're going to roll over to your side. Take a moment there. And then press yourself up. And we are going to come to seated and we'll deepen that flossing of the shoulders a little bit more. And so you will hold much wider. So instead of mat distance like we did previously, we're going to hold like maybe length of the mat distance. Wider is going to be more of a gentle experience. And this is a gentle focus class today. So sitting up tall, you'll take the strap behind your head. And you want to try to stay tall even when you move the strap behind you, rather than jut your head in front of your spine. And so you kind of feel into it. If it feels a little intense or difficult to keep your arms straight as you take the strap up, around, and down, you can widen your grip. If you need it to be more intense, like you're not feeling a chest stretch or a shoulder stretch, you can grab a little closer in, shortening the distance just a little bit. Let's take 2 more here. Ooh. And then the next time you bring your strap forward, let's just rest and just notice what that did in the body. Ooh. Okay, let's do that again, but we're going to layer in a little hip stretch situation. So we rarely do this pose, and it's such a good pose. It's dragon pose, or a modified dragon pose. We're going to kneel, and this is the highest that we're going to get up all throughout class, is kneeling. You're going to step your right foot forward, and I'm realizing I'm out of camera view, so I'm just going to scoot you back a little bit. I'll angle it up. I'll just angle it up. Okay. All right. So we're going to step our right foot forward and have our left leg back, and then you'll have your strap in your hand. You can tuck your back toes under or not. We're going to revisit that flossing of the shoulders. Now, we're not meant to sink really deeply into our dragon pose just yet. We're staying back on purpose. So we're first just going to take this band up, around, and down 3 times. Almost like we're balancing here on our knee and our foot. Yeah, really close to the window. You get the idea. Let's do one more here. All right, then you'll release your strap, and then we'll take our hips forward and down. You can take your hands to the floor and sink your hips, and then you can press it back. So we're just going to do a little pulse forward and back. This is where you might put props under your hands if the floor feels really far away from you. Keep going. I'm going to pan down a little bit more so you can see kind of the action on the mat. Down and up. Okay, so this is a pretty deep hip opener. You're going to keep your hips low to the ground, which is really demanding if you do not have props. So if you have a Zafu or a block or any book, or you could take your prop to the inside of your right leg and stick your hands on that prop. That's what I'm doing here. You can also veer your hips back at any time. So you don't have to go as low as you can go 100%. Although that is welcome if that feels accessible to you. What you do want to make sure is your knee stays over your foot, not past your toe. Okay, so you might have to shift your back leg a little longer behind you. All right, so that's enough of that. We're going to stay here for 10 breaths. And the arms are working to hold you up. So the arms are pretty straight, pretty active, but the lower body is relaxing down. Fun times. Dragon pose. Let's just do 3 more breaths here. All right, little counter pose. You're gonna bump your hips back. And actually, we're going to keep both knees bent at 90 degrees. So you have your front knee bent at 90 degrees, you have your back knee bent. And then, let's see, I'm gonna turn my body slightly so you can see this a little. I'm gonna turn this way so you can see better. We're gonna fold down over our leg like this. So it's a little different pose. If you have your bolster or a prop, you can take your elbows on it, but it's like you're sticking your butt up, but you're folding your torso down like a forward fold. And so what you'll notice is compression in your right hip and in that thigh. And then a little bit of traction for the neck. You can shake your head no or yes. You know, you can also bring your body to the floor directly, but a prop makes this a little more gentle. We'll take about 10 more breaths here. You might notice a lot of compression in that right hip, kind of building up, building up, building up. That's normal. Just go with it. We're going to release it soon enough. It's also normal if you don't feel a whole lot right now, too. Let's take one more breath here. Inhale. And as you exhale, we'll just gently press our way up. And that was a lot on one leg. So you'll slide your foot back. You can come into child's pose, or you could just stay hands and knees and wag your hips. But child's pose might be an interesting feeling since we've done one leg and not yet the other. Let's take one more breath wherever you're at. All right, we'll come up. So we did that whole kind of a lot of different things at once. So if you're going to use a prop, have it in front of you. But for now, step your left foot forward. And, you know, I'm out of focus, but we're just going to be here briefly. You're going to tear your band apart pretty wide, pretty wide. So you can take your arms up, around, and back. And you'll do 3 of these. You want to feel like your chest is expanding as you take the strap behind you. Your shoulders are getting a little flossing or a little room in the socket as you come forward. And then we'll go ahead and take our arms forward, release the strap over to the side. And then from here, maybe take a prop to the inner left leg. We're going to surf our hips to the front of the mat and then to the back. So what I often have to do is shift my back knee further back. So when I yield my hips down, my knee is over my foot and not past my foot. So just being aware of that, shifting forward and back. All right, now we're going to decide the degree in which you want to stay in dragon pose. So you can hang out back here. You could take your forearm to your thigh and just hang out. So you're not dropping your pelvis all the way. Or you could play with going into that really deep hip opener. You can have one arm or both arms on your prop, or maybe one arm on your thigh. Active arms, lifted chest, lifted spine, but letting the hips get really heavy. There's usually a lot of stuff going on in this stretch, like a lot to open up, but stay with it. I know I said this is a gentle class, but this is, we're only here briefly. So let's take 10 more breaths. Final 3 breaths. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, use the strength of your arms to draw your hips back. Ooh. Oh, and then we have a little, another stretch. So you can elevate your torso and then look down at your legs. You want 2 90-degree angles. So you want your knee over your ankle, the front leg, and then you want your hip over your knee and your back leg. That's what I kind of mean by 2 90-degree angles. And then you'll fold in. So you're going to fold like you're coming into a forward fold on the inside of your left leg. You can just let your head go heavy. You're rounded in your spine here. You could take a prop underneath you and just let yourself soften. You'll notice some kind of weird stretching, possibly in the back of the left leg and into the hip. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths, so let yourself melt into this, really enjoying these last few moments here. All right, hold on. All right, we'll slowly come up and you can explore child's pose or just come to hands and knees and notice how you feel. Notice your hips, your legs. We'll take one more breath here. And then we'll just carefully come back up. All right, so I'm gonna do a mermaid on a rock, which is probably one of my favorite ones because it's such a full body experience, but it's also super restorative. You can stay in it for a few minutes. This will be our longer held pose today. It's helpful if you have a few props. If you have a bigger prop, a zafu, a bolster, a pillow, totally preferred here. This will be your rock. You don't have anything, you can totally get by. And then in addition, you can take another prop like as a pillow at the end of your mat. So you want to sit how I'm seated. If you're using a prop, you want it to the outside of your left hip. And then we're taking mermaid pose. So what that looks like is lifting up your right knee and then bending it back. So your right shin is parallel to the right wall in the room. You can also put a blanket under your ankle, inner ankle or inner knee if you're noticing discomfort there. All right, so we're going to twist away from our legs and you'll come up high onto your fingertips and wrap your navel to your left. And then from here, we'll start to lower our body down to the ground, coming into this spinal twist. You can have either cheek on your prop. You can even do your forehead. Now, if you're not using a prop out, I also want to show you what that would look like. Is you would still twist, and then maybe you come down more to your forearms and you just hang out and you let your head dangle. Some people are super flexible and they can lay all the way down, and it's comfortable. You'd only do this if this feels comfortable for a couple minutes. So any size prop is useful under your chest, under your head. It will help support you more than without a prop. All right, so we're going to be here to stay for a few minutes. And then there's a couple little tweaks you can do as you're settling in. Some refinements. You can take both legs and shift them back in space slightly. So there's a little bit more of a thigh opener for that top leg. You can also take your arms and kind of pull them down so your elbows kind of rest near the rib cage, the sides of the body more, and the shoulders get to relax away from the ears. And this is a perfect opportunity to practice back breathing, breathing into the back portion of your lungs. This is a really important spot to cultivate your breath. It can be underdeveloped or underutilized, and that just means we're not breathing to our full lung capacity. And so I invite you to take 3 deep breaths into the back of the ribs. We'll begin now. Inhale fully. Exhale fully. Again, inhale. And exhale. One more breath in. Exhale, and you can continue on if it has as many breaths as you like, or let that go. We'll be here for a little bit longer. We're about halfway there. See if you can relax your body even more into your prop. All right, we'll gently come up. You'll just bring yourself up by pressing with your hands, and then we are going to lie on our back before we do the other side. So if you happen to have a setup similar to mine, you can just simply turn around, have your back face your props, and just lie back. If you don't have any props, still you can lie back. So we'll just take a moment to find some neutral position before we do the other side. You might notice one side or parts of your body feel warm, while other parts feel a little more closed off or cooler. All right, and then we'll come on up and, or you could turn around and do the other side. So you could just simply keep your props where they are, facing the other side of the room, but I'm going to face you. So I'm going to move my props over to my outer right hip now. And there, okay. And then let me take this off because it just got loose all of a sudden, this watch. All right, so we're going to take our left knee, bring it back, and this is your mermaid pose. And then from here, you're going to twist to your right. And if you have a bulkier prop, you'll have your hands are going to frame either side. And then start to grow long through your spine as you lay it down on the ground, or your forearms, or on your prop. And then choose which direction you want your head to turn. Typically, we want the path of least resistance. So for most of us, that means our right ear will be on the mat or on the prop. And then readjust your legs. So if you're feeling not much of a stretch in the left thigh, you can push your legs back in space, and that can create a little more stretch. You can also take your arms a little more down by your side, bent elbows, and that can move your shoulders away from your ears. We'll rest right here, allowing your body to get really soft and spacious, particularly breathing into the back of the rib cage. Be curious if there are parts of you not wanting to take a deep breath, or it's almost like you could breathe into most of your lungs, but maybe parts of your lungs feel resistance. Can you just be curious about that? And then let that curiosity create a little bit of softening or a little bit of space to those more stagnant areas. You have about 30 more seconds here, so make yourself extra comfortable for this final time here. And we'll take a final breath here. Inhale fully. And then as you exhale, you'll guide your hands in, press yourself up, and we'll turn, take a quarter turn, lie on your back on the floor or on props, and just notice one more time how you feel now having done both sides. You're welcome to take your hands over your heart and just kind of take some of that focus inward. Kind of feeling that warmth in your chest, under your hands. Then from here, we will shift off our props, flat on our back one more time. We're gonna take a yin style happy baby, which is not your typical happy baby, and I'll explain that. So something behind the head can be nice for your neck. I recommend that. So we'll start by flexing the feet, soles of the feet up to the sky, knees open wide. And because this is a yin style happy baby, we're going to hold it for longer than, say, your average yoga class. So I like to start with my hands behind my knees, pull the legs down and wide. So you feel like this pretty deep inner thigh sensation stretch. And then you can rock a little side to side initially. So ask yourself if you want to stay here for 2 minutes. Does this feel okay? Another option could be to hold a bit higher towards the ankle or the calf. But again, we want to pull down as if to help widen and really bend the knees in this squat. And then I'll offer a third option. You can take your first 2 fingers and thumbs and wrap them around each big toe. And again, pull down as if to plug your arm bones deeper in the socket, as if to create more of that healthy compression in the hip and knees. Steady, slow breaths, breathing in, breathing out. We'll be here for a few more breaths. So it's starting to feel a little intense. This too shall pass. Let's take one final breath here. Inhale fully. And exhale, release. And then, oh, you can take your feet as wide as your mat and windshield wiper your knees. So I'm going to offer a little bit of a different way to do Shavasana if you feel up for it. Of course, any way you want to do Shavasana is fine. You can even do legs up the wall, but I'm going to offer butterfly pose or a Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Only if this feels comfy and restful, I invite you to take it as an option. And you'll set up your body for rest, walking the shoulder blades together, moving the hair away from your face. And we'll take this moment of rest. Begin to draw your awareness back into this room and start to wake up in whatever way feels natural, easeful, still honoring your mellow state. And just as we started this practice, we'll end with the lotus mudra at the heart. And just taking that time to reflect and kind of feel like our yin practice, we're like moving through the mud, like we're moving through all the muck and processing it all through these poses. And then, what comes out is this beauty, right? Just like the lotus blossom that, lotuses grow in mud. No mud, no lotus. So again, you can take that little seed of light in your palms and breathe into that space, warming glow of light in your palms. And then gather that warmth into your heart space, drawing the hands to the heart. Just kind of taking that nourishment in. We'll bow the thinking mind to the caring heart. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your practice. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.